Hi, I'm Colin and welcome to How to Paint Watercolors. So if you're ready, we'll get started and we'll paint this one. Hello and welcome back to How to Paint Watercolors with me, Colin. I've chosen this one today. It's going to be a cottage scene. I have painted this one before with this house in, but I use it in demonstrations just to show you how you can use different colours to create different scenes. With this one really, I'm going to show you that skies don't have to be blue. Naples yellow. I've already wet my paper, you've seen me do this 100 times. And I'm taking the Naples yellow. Right, to getting colour on. You can see the strength of the colour I'm using. Take some burnt umber, French ultramarine. Just going to drop some of this in, bring that cloud up against this mountain. Softening some in. Just bring some down here, some raw sienna. Some Naples yellow again, just taking the white off the paper really. Stops you being frightened of it. Raw sienna. French ultramarine and burnt umber into this path. Just allowing it all to mingle. And then we're just going to let that dry. Now that your sky's dry, your first initial washes, I think you'll see that skies really don't have to be blue. Take some clean water and I'm just going to re-wet this mountain area. I have got the board set at an angle now. Before it was flat and now it's set at an angle. This will allow the paint to flow downwards. French ultramarine and burnt umber. I'm going to well water this down. I'm going to put some shadows on. I need this to be quite weak. Remember, it will fade and dry lighter. Pull it down in the direction that you want the shadows to be. Very pale down here. Mixture of French ultramarine, burnt umber with some raw sienna, cadmium yellow. I'm going to put a line of trees in here, which will be pine trees, evergreens, but I do want them in the distance. But I want them reasonably strong, so it will help force this mountain back. And I really am just going to allow this to drift on the 2 marks there. Just a tiny bit of detail on some of the edges of these, just to fool the eye a little bit more. I'm just going to brush this out. Re-wet this hillside once again. I don't mind a bit of colour on the brush there, to be honest. Just around this dry stone wall, some raw sienna, relatively stronger. I also have a colour of the same as the other one, which is the burnt sienna, French ultramarine, raw sienna, with a touch of cadmium yellow in it, light, just to make it a little bit of an autumny green colour. Just going to pull those colours together. Let this dry. Okay, now that the shadows have dried, I'm back to the original cloud colour, which is the French ultramarine and burnt umber. I'm taking a detail brush and we're just going to create our rocks and our gullies. So I'm going to begin, brush on each side, just begin shaping how you want your mountain to be. So I'm just going to shape it with just a couple of angles on it. You see how it's done? Almost like an upside down V, and it's just a very slight angle, giving a hit and miss effect. If you want a little bump in it, put a little bump. Shape it how you want it to go. We'll be using some darker versions of this on the shadow sides. just adding some of the other colour to that, a little bit more French ultramarine and burnt umber, which was made for the shadow, and I'm just adding a little bit to that. Put a gully in here. To pull a little bit of this colour into some of the lighter mixture. These two mixtures, French ultramarine and Indian red, mixed up to a reddy and a purple side. Taking my oil painting Deerfoot stippler brush, break it open. Just want to put some bushes in the back here. Taking a deeper version of it. Shadow colour, French ultramarine and burnt umber. In a detail brush, I'm just going to pull some tree trunks and branches through these while the paint is still wet. Then with a damp brush I'm just going to catch the bottom where the colour is and just pull it forward. Adding a little extra dark in it just to help it. Here, just around the house, just to make it stand out. And we're just going to put in these trees here. Indian red and French ultramarine, darker bits in. Just on the underside where you have the other colour, raw sienna. At the tops of the leaves. The raw sienna once again. Taking some of the darker green, I just want to touch that in on one side and just allow it to drift. Detail brush. Ultramarine and burnt umber. I always have some of this mixed up. And I'm just dropping this in certain areas just to deepen the tree trunk. Branches need something to support the canopy with. We'll let that dry. Then with some of your shadow mounting colour, watered down, put the shadow side of this building in. Drop some French ultramarine and burnt umber in, just in areas. Indian red and French ultramarine, just drop some in, softening it in areas. A little bit in here on the roof, just watered down. Some French ultramarine to that to make it a slaty colour, and down this side where it reaches the light part, I'm going to darken it so that it stands out against the mountain. Some slate lines in. Just softening it all together. Re-wet my dry stone wall, not all the way up to the top. Some raw sienna, just put it in. Some of your brick colour, French ultramarine and burnt umber mixed to a grey side. Not too bothered about it over here. I'm going to drop some green in for moss. The tree colour, Indian red, French ultramarine. Soften the bottoms out with a damp brush. Taking some dark, what I'm going to do is just going to put the shadow side of the door jambs in the window frames, quite crooked. You don't want things to be too straight. Little yellow, little raw sienna, sorry, on the little fence post here. French ultramarine and burnt umber. Just down one side, allowing it to drift across. On the underside of that one there. I might even put my little man in, I think. So just an indication. Just dropping some of the tree colour in down one side. It's always nice if you can sometimes just slip a little bit of red into your landscapes. Give him a red door. I'm going to take a little bit of this blue that's separated out here, and I'm just going to add it on the side of the chimney. Drop some raw sienna in that, just to make it different than the other roof. French ultramarine and burnt umber, just to bring in a shadow. I'm going to let all this dry and then we'll continue with the wall. Now that it's all dry, I'm just taking a rigger brush and I've just got some French ultramarine and burnt umber watered down. I'm just going to put some cracks into this dry stone wall, so you don't want this to be too strong. Just do a little at a time and check it's all going the way that you want it. Move into the grassy areas here, and I'm just going to re-wet some clean water. The top part first as we come into the foreground. Some strong raw sienna. Murky green colour, just to give it that autumn look where the colour's gone from the grass. Ultramarine and burnt umber. Let that dry. Now that section's dry, taking some French ultramarine, burnt umber and cadmium yellow with some raw sienna in just to take the glare out of it. I'm just going to pull some grasses through into that lighter area. In some raw sienna as well, for that dry strawed look. Some down here. So again, softening it in. Raw sienna. This is just to add interest into your foreground, as most of the picture is here. Some of your earthy green. To the path. This is just the Indian red and French ultramarine. I'm just plonking this down in a couple of places, and then I'm going to soften that in along the edge, but leaving some of the dark patch where I want it. Horizontal stroke. A little of the burnt umber, French ultramarine. I'll scrape out a few pebbles in a minute. Add a shadow where the wall is. Just a shadow on this side. A bit stronger where the house is. Little shadow there. Softening it off. Then we're going to let that dry, and then we can finish this off. I just want to take a craft blade, and I'm going to scrape some white branches and tree trunks. I think that will be enough. Maybe a couple of birds here. A couple of roof tiles. Don't want these everywhere, just an indication. Slates. Do want a shadow under there. This is where you get to sign it, mouse it and frame it. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please click the like button and subscribe. Subscribing is free and you are always welcome. Hitting the like button and commenting helps with Google's algorithm or YouTube's algorithm. I will leave a link in the description box to the other YouTube demonstration videos I've made. And I'd just like to thank you all very much for watching. Thank you.